Welcome to Agents of Screen and a very special episode of the podcast. We are going to be comparing the DCEU, which is the DC Extended Universe, versus the DC Animated Universe. Now, we've got two very special guests. Well, I say guests, they are agents with us today, but they are DC experts. They have DC running through their veins. If you inject them, the blood will show DC.
Fake news.
And that voice you just heard there, he can introduce himself. We call him DC Rob, but what else? What are you known by?
I'm known as Rob.
All right, DC
or Black
Rob.
You guys can call me Black Rob.
And that other voice you can hear is.
This is James.
James. Would you both say you are resident DC experts?
I would say I'm a resident centerite, and that's defined by I like both DC and Marvel comics.
Well,
I agree with that, but with that being said, I do not think that there is anyone apart from probably Daryl that is on our levels of knowledge regarding current DC status of
that is true.
Comics and movies.
Daryl's not here. Fair enough. We're going to try our best without Daryl.
Mr. Piccolo.
Yeah, Mr. Piccolo. If you haven't seen our Dragon Ball Z top 5 list, I suggest you watch that as to why we call him Mr. Piccolo, because it was quite shocking. Let's get on. Let's get on with the pod. So the reason we've decided to discuss this is because we have just watched, I say just, in recent weeks or a month, we've just watched The Reign of Superman, DC's latest animated movie. Can you tell us a bit about that, Rob? How did you find DC's animated movie, The Reign of Superman?
Yeah, I found it very good. It stuck. It was a mixture. It's like or if you remember Call of Duty, you had that option like mosh pit, so you had a bit of everything. It had a bit of the original story. It had the original story, but with the designs and some of the attitudes of the recent DC comic book characters. For example, you had Superboy. He had the exact same outfit that he had in the Death of Superman trilogy, but the actual when you see the actual attitude of him, and on top of that, if you see what scene was it when he was fighting some of the parademons, he had his whole 52 DC attitude and looks towards him, and powers too. So they kind of fused them all in, but it worked. It actually worked. And this is the thing, unlike with the DC universe, the DCEU, where they tried to put some of the 52 elements into some of the movies. It was hit and miss. So right, I'm trying to figure out why that is.
So the animated movie, sorry James, just cut you off. The animated movie, you're saying that where they did it correctly, the DCEU couldn't quite pull it off on the big screen.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a running thing for the DCEU at the moment, because for me, it looks like they are taking the base of New 52 universe. So just to explain to people, the New 52 is where DC decided to reboot the whole entire comic book universe. This happened in I can't remember the exact year. I think it was like 2011 or 2012. They decided
2011.
Yeah. Okay. So they literally started from scratch with all the comic book characters. Now, some people, they continue from pre 52. So Green Lantern's story, even though I don't know how that makes sense, how they can integrate Blackest Night and Brightest Day into it, but whatever. That all the story of Green Lantern continued. Batman, it's kind of continued. So a lot of characters, they literally got rebooted from scratch when New 52 happened. So that was after Flashpoint. And essentially what DCEU is integrating some of that story in. However, there are some inconsistencies with that, because while they do seem to be using New 52 content, they are using content from other parts of the universe. So like the Batman versus Superman, that is heavily taking from the Dark Knight trilogy graphic novel. Well, there's more than trilogy actually. It's taken from the Dark Knight films and the graphic novels, where where Batman's an old man now and he's retired to an extent, and then he goes to fight Superman. So they take from that as well. It's a bit confusing where they're getting their source material from, and I don't think they do a very good job at integrating it with DCEU in comparison to the animated universe, where they are literally doing New 52 almost like for like in the animated universe, but along with having their own also side stories to boot on top of that, and they do it very well.
What I would say to that is, you have to understand, like the DC animated universe, whilst I think the general belief is that their movies are, like you said, true to the original stories, true to the comics, do they have as wider of an audience? Because the DCEU has to cater to casual audiences as well as hardcore audiences. So would you say that's a factor in it?
I would agree with that. Yeah, 100%.
Big time. And this is their folly, where what they should have done is pretty much, I mean, okay, it's like, the people behind the DCAU, they had a vision. They knew what they wanted to do. That man, Bruce Timm, he's a genius. You could say he's like the Stan Lee for the DCAU, though. The guy thought, right, you know what? In the 90s, I'm going to make Batman the animated TV series, which was clearly off the success of Tim Burton's Batman movie and Batman Returns, right? So he builds that up, and then he just had a bigger vision, like, well, you know what? They've got Lois and Clark coming out. Why don't we just make an animated Superman movie?
Series, to be fair.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, why don't we just make the animated animated cartoon, and then incorporate that into the same universe? And then what he did, what was smart, is that he used the Superman cartoon to introduce the other JL members. So Flash came in. I don't know if you remember that episode when the Flash and Superman had the race. It was literally, I think it's called The Fastest Man Alive. And then you had the Green Lantern came in, how he got his powers and whatnot in the Superman episode. And then the only ones he didn't have was Wonder Woman and Hawkgirl and Martian Manhunter. But and also had Aquaman as well in all of the entire Superman. And then they brought out that movie, Batman and Superman, World's Finest, where they've literally officially met for the first time, when Joker went to Lex Luthor and said, yo, pay me $2 billion and I'll kill Superman for you. Yeah, I've just got a wad of kryptonite. This guy didn't even know he had it in his old antique shop. So I'm about to murk Superman for you. Just pay me the money. Done. And then that's when the partnership will happen. And Bruce, obviously being the detective, went, yeah, I need to go to Metropolis. I got business dealings with Lex, so that could be my cover to go there and fuck up. Excuse my French, and mess up. And mess up the Joker. You know what I mean? And then from then they spawned a mini series, Batman Superman series, animated series on top of their series as well. And then it led to Batman Beyond, and then after Batman Beyond,
great series,
amazing. They did the Justice League. They went back and thought, right, let's do the Justice League. And when you watch the first episode of the Justice League, if you can, it's on Amazon Prime holders, watch that, really good. And you see Batman, when it opens up with Batman doing his investigation again, Superman arrives and he's like, Bruce, why are you having trouble? And you can see they already have that connection. They already like, you could say, what's the word? Bros. They're like, bros, but with different types of justice, if you know what I mean. So
okay, so what you're basically getting at, and what I'm getting from what you're saying, is that they built the universe over time. They done it properly. They integrated stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they essentially did what Marvel did with the MCU.
So why has the DCEU sort of like fast tracked everything? Why have they thrown it all together? Like, okay, we did get Man of Steel. Was it Man of Steel, the first one?
Yeah,
And then
Man of
we
Steel.
went
Yeah.
straight into Batman versus Superman, the first movie with Ben Affleck in the role. He's up
Yeah.
against Superman straight away.
I
Why
think
didn't we
they.
get an initial movie? Why was Wonder Woman introduced in that movie? Do you know what I mean? Like, why didn't we get backstories? Have Warner Brothers got an agenda with the universes? Why is Warner Brothers doing different to the DCAU? Like, tell me what's going on? Why?
I think the reason why they did it was quite obvious. It was because of Avengers. Sorry, like Marvel was so far ahead. They thought we need to try and find a way to fast track it. So they literally just went straight into doing the crossover without even introducing Batman whatsoever to the casual market. Now, to be fair, you could say that it could have been quite successful because, you know, who doesn't know who Batman is for the most part? I mean, people growing up on the animated cartoon series, there's been so many Batman films, people know who Batman is. So they could essentially just add him in there and it would have been fine. But the way that they did the film was so poor. The way they integrate everything, the whole storyline, and then there was the whole thing about Zack Snyder's version getting cut up into pieces by Warner Brothers directors, so it never really got into the theatrical version. And then there was the extended version, and even then, the extended version, it was much better than the theatrical release, but overall, the film wasn't as good as it could have been because there was just things about the film that was just I felt was a bit messed up, like the whole Zod being Doomsday,
Zombie.
yeah,
Oh,
zombie
Zod.
Zod, yeah, zombie Zod being
Yep.
Doomsday, and everything. It was just there was a lot of things that they messed up. There was some really good bits in the film, but overall, it didn't do as well as it could have been. And I feel like they rushed into that. They really rushed into that whole situation. They could have maybe done like two. I feel if they just built it up by maybe like 2 films or something like that, slowly hinted characters in, and then did like the Batman versus Superman, or eventually after that, then it would have been fine. And what was
Rob?
even more? Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you'd finished. Sorry, I was going to say, Rob, do you agree with that?
Yeah, partially. I mean, to be honest, I've always said this one thing about DC. I said, you know what? They shouldn't do a live action. They should just do animation, because that's what they know, and just
What
high
not?
budget it. Just
What not
just
do
for
an
enough.
extended universe at all? Like no live action
Nope,
movies?
nope, no live action. They should do what they're good at. It's a bit
Well,
like, I'll tell you why.
I think if they
Okay.
do it right, it can be done. You know, I think Marvel has proved that there's a market for superhero movies. Like you both have said, everybody knows Batman, everybody knows Superman, so there's clearly a market. I just think it needs to be done correctly. That's all.
Yeah, I
No,
think.
you're right. But the thing about DC characters, well, the thing about it is just that they're just way. Some of these characters are just way too complex for like just a 2-hour film. That's my personal opinion, and I think, well, because they had the animated thing, they could have easily just got off the back of that and just plow money into animation and everything, make it look really good, and just continue the story from there. I mean, look at, you had the Reign of Superman, and the Death of Superman. You had Batman Court of Owls, which was okay, but was still a decent film. You got all these other animated DCAU movies, which are really good, really, really good. And when you look at that, you just think, well, why don't you guys just stick with animation? That's what you guys are really, really good for.
Well,
You know what I mean?
like I was telling you before, Rob. The point is that the casual market, they would be more interested in real actors than animated films. Like
Yeah, I guess
they
so.
are, the animated films would be good, but what the only theatrical release that they actually done was that Batman one that was in the 90s from the animated universe. That was the only theatrical release. It did actually quite well when it came out. Um, but people want to see live actors. People want to see the special effects of what the powers look like in the real world. I mean, like I said to you yesterday, one of the best visual representations of how sick of a superpower film, of a superhero film, is Doctor Strange. The visual effects in Doctor Strange film, when they explain the multiverse, in my opinion, was one of the best scenes I've seen in the MCU so far. The way it just, that scene itself when she explained the multiverse to Strange was just
Oh,
amazing.
when she Buddha palmed his soul out of his.
Yeah, that scene, the visual
That
effects
was
were just so sick.
amazing.
People
Yeah, I love that
want to
film.
see that. People want
I
to
love
see
that
visual
film.
effects like that. Exactly. People
Just
want to
waiting
see
for the
visual effects
4K.
like that.
So okay, so in terms of then, if that's what you're saying, do Warner Brothers operate on the same budget as what Marvel do? Do they have the budget to do to do what you are asking them to do? What Doctor Strange has done, what Avengers has done?
Of course they do.
They definitely
They
Okay.
do. They got the budget, bruv. Look,
they got
like
Warner Brothers backing them, man. What Time Warner
they
is like,
have. The thing is, right? Let me tell you something. Yeah, Greg.
No, but okay,
One
all right.
thing
Before you
Warner.
go
Oh
on.
yeah, go on.
No, I was gonna say I know Warner Brothers got money. I'm saying are they giving the DCEU the budget to use, or are they limiting? That's what I mean. I know they've got the money. It's Warner Brothers. You
They're
know what I mean?
giving
We know
it.
that
Well, upon research, yeah, it was as if they do give the budget, but it comes with T's and C's.
right.
Unlike with Kevin, what's his name? Feige,
I think,
Feige, yeah, that guy, yeah, the head honcho for MCU, yeah. It's as if he tells these guys, because I remember watching a little segment on him and Jeff Johns talking about Richard Donner. He tells the directors, he locks them in the room apparently, and he tells the directors, watch the Superman original Richard Donner's cut, and then come back to me with an idea for how you're gonna do, say, Ant-Man 3. But that's the essence I want you to catch. So they're using a DC film to make these Marvel films to catch these capture these essence. Warner Brothers, they don't even know. They don't even. It's like they don't even using that shit. It's as if, right, I want you to make me money. This was this guy. I forgot his name. This other head honcho for Warner Brothers who was just micromanaging Snyder like no tomorrow. Yeah, saying no, you can't do that. No, you guess you can. No, you can't. No, you can't. Yes, you can. No. All he wanted was just money for the stakeholders. That's all he wanted. Hence why he was just messing up Snyder's movies. And then once he's gone, how ironic. The moment Warner, the shareholders got rid of this guy and brought in this new guy, which we will talk about. His name is Walter Hamada, yeah, from New
Right.
Line. They brought him in. Somehow, Aquaman does amazingly. I'm just saying. Somehow, because he's off the back of James Wan. He didn't get on his back. He even said, no. If you were working with Zack, which they were, because what it was, Aquaman was meant to be a sequel to Justice League, right?
Yeah.
And he wanted him to continue that. Hence, if you watch Aquaman, spoilers for Aquaman, if anyone hasn't watched it, where you got what's her name saying you helped the Justice League defeat Steppenwolf, and why he was in the water in the first place, taking out that submarine. All of that was meant to be in Justice League the movie, and Hamada told Wan he wanted that all in the movie. Just keep it up, just make a good film, and he was hands off. And look at this
Who-
film. So it kind of makes me think, well, hold
The
on.
person you're talking about, are you talking about Toby Emmerich? Is that how you say it? The chairman of film at Warner Brothers. Is that who you're referring to?
The old guy, the old one that
Yeah,
got
the
kicked
old.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's his name. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they kicked him out. And Walter Hamada now, he's from New Line, and he has impressive
So
credentials,
Muhammad
by the
is
way.
now taking over.
Yeah, this man, right? Walter Hamada, he has impressive credentials. If I just look at my notes a minute. Okay, so this guy, yeah, he was behind Conjuring, Annabelle, Conjuring 2, Lights Out, and It. He serves as
Okay.
executive producer of these films. And on top of that, get ready for this, the two directors who did James Wan and the guy who's doing Shazam both worked under him. And the guy he did Annabelle David S. Eisenberg, I think his name is. Yeah, he did Annabelle Creation. And he co-directed or whatever Annabelle, the first one. And they were good films. They made money.
Yeah, of course. Sorry,
So
just
these guys
apologise.
know
No,
each other.
the guys you're talking about, the studio, I've just looked it up. The studio replaced John Berg and Jeff Johns as the heads of DC movies and have promoted Walter Hamada, the guy you're saying. So
Right.
it's John
Yeah.
Berg and Jeff Jones that have been replaced, as you say. But yeah, sorry,
Yes.
carry on.
No. Thanks for that, man. Yeah, and well, we'll get to Jeff Johns as well because he's doing some good things. My gosh, wow. But yeah, Walter Hamada, I think now Warner Brothers, or I'm gonna say Walter knows how he's gonna play this card now. He's gonna go.
Hello?
Did we lose Rob there for a sec?
I think so.
Shit. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Go on. We lost you for a sec.
Yeah, sorry, man. Yeah. Yeah. I think what he's going to do is that he's going to actually no, he's actually said he's going to concentrate more on the solo movie aspects and the beeline characters, and pretty much I think he's going to follow the Marvel way now and just build up solo movies into later on crossover movies, which I guess is a
Well,
good
it's a
thing.
tried and tested formula, isn't it? It works.
If Shazam works, then yes, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't put Shazam out of nowhere appearing in someone else's movie. You need a backstory. We need to know who he is.
I totally agree.
You know,
Yeah.
it won't work any other
Wonder
way.
Woman worked because like people do slightly know who Wonder Woman is, but you can never put Shazam in there. There will be so many casuals be like, who is Shazam? Like they don't know who Shazam is. So
You're right.
That's why the Trinity, like the whole, well, they call it the Holy Trinity. That was okay. Like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, that was fine to put in BVS. But you put Shazam in there,
no, it would not.
It wouldn't fly. It wouldn't. You would not fly at all. And with the Shazam as well, what's good is that he's also Dwayne has obviously confirmed that they are now starting to do early production on Black Adam, the movie, which is great because there's no effing way you're making Black Adam appear as a villain. No way. The guy is a complex character himself, so he needs his own background movie, which is perfect, brilliant thinking by Walter and Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Brilliant thinking, and I'm like that. So it's like a mini Shazam universe being built, and then I guess with the Shazam 2 will be when they will cross paths, and he's rebooting Suicide Squad. But Suicide Squad you can get away with because Suicide Squad is just DC villains just being held to ransom their life by Amanda Waller. As long as he's got Amanda Waller there, he can throw in any villain because they just have a bomb in their head, innit?
What do you mean by rebooting it? Are you saying the events of Suicide Squad? Are you saying that didn't happen, or what do you mean by rebooting? I don't understand.
It's the after the events of Suicide Squad, the one that just finished. It got disbanded,
right?
And now, apparently, what it is, Amanda now is working under a new, under some new rich backers for Suicide Squad, which is taken after I think Rebirth, James.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Cadmus. Yeah, she's working for Cadmus.
Oh, so they're actually introducing Cadmus in there now.
Yeah. Yeah, Walter's doing it from that direction, which to me is perfect. That makes perfect sense because Cadmus, we all know what they do, man. Well, actually, no. Hang on, we need to explain it, don't we?
Bring Cadmus into it. So for people
briefly,
just briefly.
So a brief description. Cadmus is literally a undercover Black Ops section of the government that creates metahumans to fight against the Justice League. That's it.
So this Suicide Squad 2 reboot is almost like a soft reboot, just going in a little bit of a different direction.
Think of it like Full 3.
They're still the same characters. You're still going to have, obviously, Harley Quinn and Will Smith will still be there, but they're just going in a different direction rather than recasting and all that. Okay, cool. That's fair enough. The
whole thing's been rebooted from he announced it in Comic-Con. It's now called the Worlds of DC. The whole thing. It's no longer DCEU anymore. It's just the Worlds of DC, a multiverse, which is what Zack Snyder and Jeff Johns wanted to do in the first place. Well, which they kind of have done, but yeah.
Okay, so let's just touch on that then. basically spoke about how we've got a new CEO in charge, Walter Hamda. You've explained his vision now, the direction they're changing, they're rebranding. Do you feel this is a step in the right direction? Do you feel the franchise can be saved, or is it too little too late?
I don't think it's too little too late. I think they can definitely save it. They've made some mistakes which have hurt them quite badly. I think that Batman versus Superman left a bitter taste in people's mouths. The also Suicide Squad, while it did have some very good moments, it fell into a very stereotypical situation with the villain being ridiculously overpowered and a very terrible ending to it. And it was a very big mistake on their part to do that. So Justice League was quite good, but had a lot more potential to be better than it was. But if we try to move on from that, and which they are trying to move on from that whole situation, they are trying to essentially make the worlds of DC a much better place. It will take them some time to build that back up again, but I believe they can definitely do it. It's obviously they've shown their capabilities with Aquaman. We'll see how Shazam is when the time comes this year. So here's hoping that comes out, and then we'll see how they progress throughout the years when they start releasing more films. So it's only a matter of time, but I don't think it's unredeemable. I think that the Worlds of DC can be really good if they actually try to find a way to cross over potentially TV shows into movies as well, which is what Marvel hasn't done yet. If they can do that, and if they actually think about doing that, that opens up so many different potentials to so many really good arcs for DC, like Infinite Crisis on Infinite Worlds. I can't even imagine what that would be like if they actually had something like that, where movies and TV shows got integrated and the Anti-Monitor existed in that. That in itself would be crazy. But yeah, I think
they've got
good chance for
DC are introducing their own streaming services, aren't they? So
yes,
they kind of would be able to do that. Really, they'd be like their hands would be free, so to speak. They wouldn't be at the mercy of a TV corporation, because if you're introducing shows on your own streaming service, effectively you can do what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so,
they can. Yeah. They pretty much. I watched Titans last Saturday, and I have to say, me personally, watch it. You guys, anyone listening to this, watch that. If you ain't a fan of the CW, or you're sick and tired of the political correctness and being forced into the CW shows, my lord, that's another subject. But yeah, watch Titans. It is true to the comic source. It is fun as hell. It is amazing. Good grief. Like, and it's done by Jeff Johns, and the guy who even did the CW, Greg Berletti, whatever his name is, and some other dude. I can't remember, some unknown dude. But yeah, you can see, and even Jeff Johns even directed some of these episodes as well. I mean, writ some of these episodes as well. But you can see from the title, Titans, how they're taking it serious. I'm not calling it Teen Titans because they ain't all teens. Like, so spoilers. I'm going to say spoilers from now. Robin is like what, in his 20s.
Yeah.
So is Star Sapphire. Raven is like what, 13, 14, something like that. And Beast Boy is roughly the same age, so they have a connection because they're young with all these special powers, and they don't know what the hell they need to do with these things. And then you got who else? Who else is there, James? Is Star Sapphire?
They had Wonder.
Oh yeah, that fucking Wonder Girl, didn't they? Donna Troy, and you see her using the lasso and her doing Wonder Woman shit basically, and you even see the interaction how they didn't feel like they don't like being sidekicks. They needed to be their own character, their own person, and the way Titans was built up, Greg, you can see they're trying to lead up to Nightwing. Yeah. And it's really good because Robin is now trying to because he's seen now, because there was a moment they buoyed him. They buoyed him like when Jason Todd came, and then Dick Grayson was like, "Wait, how long have you been Robin for?" And he goes, "Oh, a year." And then he looks, "Wait, I stopped being Robin a year ago. And he goes, yeah, Bruce replaced. And it's like, wait, what? And you could see how hurt Dick Grayson was. He was absolutely hurting. But I'm telling you, show is great. And as Greg said, they have the freedom to do what the hell they want. And I reckon they will connect. Walter will somehow make this be connected to I would say phase 2, quote unquote, or the
Okay.
Walterverse.
Right. Well, here's my problem. Right. While we're on the issue of connecting universes, and you guys are saying how it would be such a great idea to integrate TV shows into movies, so where the movie leaves off, you can have a TV show continue it. This sounds amazing. This sounds brilliant. Here's my issue. Why did DC have got 2 different Flashes right now? They've
Don't
got
get me started on that.
No, but let me just say. So which TV show is gonna be? Do you see what I mean? You can't really do that now. Incorporate that. DC have now decided they're gonna make a Joker film, standalone, nothing to do with anybody else. We already have a Joker in Jared Leto, who's just appeared in Suicide Squad. He could have had a perfect backstory movie alone by himself. Instead, we're getting a separate Joker movie that's nothing to do with anything. We've just been told about Batman being. You guys can tell me. Is it a reboot? Because they're talking Affleck's out. There's going to be a young Batman in. So if you bring a young Batman, I believe it's Matt Reeves doing it. He's going to bring a young Batman in. Is that part of the DCEU? And if it is, how can you explain this Affleck, who's the older Batman, the experience? How can you explain him leaving and this new young Batman coming in? It doesn't make sense. So go on.
I'll explain the Batman part. James could do the other ones. The Batman one, because I literally just read up on this one yesterday. Ben, he's left the making any Batman movie under Matt Reeves, but he's still signed for 2 more movies. He's still got a contract, and what it is that Matt Reeves, who I don't trust in these Batman films, no matter how good Planet of the Apes were, what it is that it's in the past. It's a younger Bruce Wayne. And it's a younger Ben Affleck. So it's leading up to like how he became.
Okay, so it's essentially part of the universe, but it's a prequel.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
just
what
a
it
young.
is.
Okay, right,
Yeah.
fine. Okay,
that's what Matt Reeves is doing.
Okay, right, okay, I didn't realize Ben Affleck had signed on for 2 more sort of like cameo appear, like a Justice League movie. He won't have a solo movie, but we're getting a prequel movie. Basically. That's fine. I accept that. That's fine. But then what about the Joker? Why couldn't he have?
Go on, James. You want to do this one, or do you want me to do it?
Well, yeah, I haven't read too much into the whole situation regarding the Joker thing, but I do agree with you that it does seem a bit wild that they have actually separated the Joker into what essentially is a completely different or separated universe. I think they could have done that with Jared Leto, because he actually was disappointed, to say the least, when Jared Leto found that out about a completely different Joker. To me, it doesn't make sense why they're doing that. Because they're not even. I don't even see them introducing any other characters. Like if it was part of like a different universe, and maybe they might have like the different universes joined together, fine. But I haven't heard anything about any other villains or superheroes like being added to the film. It's literally just a Joker film. So that to me, it's like there are question marks regarding that. The Flash thing, I was upset at first, but when I thought about the bigger picture, about how potentially they could integrate the different universes together, I was fine with that. Because like I said, they could have a multiverse clash film where the CW universe and the movie universe join together to fight the Anti-Monitor. But the Joker situation, that's a completely different story. That's like I have no information on that. It's completely in the dark. Like to me, it just seems crazy. I mean, he looks quite interesting as Joker. I'm not going to write it off. I don't think it's going to be a terrible film. I don't have any high hopes for it, but I will be open-minded when watching the film. But I do agree with you that it is weird that it is a completely separate Joker. unless they plan to replace Jared Leto, and I don't think they do because he's still got movies to do. So, yeah, that Jared Leto situation and the new Joker is quite weird.
It's under a new label. That's what it is.
Oh, is that
Right.
the DC Black label?
That's it. Yeah, it's on the
Okay.
DC Black, which is this weren't Walter, by the way. This had nothing to do with Walter, but this was initiated before he joined in. But what it is all it is just directors being brought in who have chosen not to make a movie, a DC movie that's within the universe, but they want to make a DC movie. So it's called DC Black Label. It's like, all right, cool. So it's like a one-off movie, one done. You'll never see another one done again. That's all it is. So it's like going back to the good old days of when universes weren't really made in the cinemas. It was just, yeah, one movie, yay, great, and
Yeah,
done.
yeah, I get it. Yeah,
On your
it wasn't
bike.
really a continuous story. It was just separate movies. I understand that, but I think
I
personally,
still don't like the idea, but hey ho.
Yeah,
no,
I see.
I
This is
think
my
you need
problem.
to make up your mind what you want. If you want to
Yes.
do standard, like
Yes.
you said before, back in the day, like you said, I know we got Superman 1, 2, and 3 continuous movies, but you had your Superman films, you had your Batman films with various different actors, standalone movies. We know they didn't continue. That is what it was. If you want to do that, fine. But I think you got to make a decision. If you want a universe, but I think, like what you said, just going by what you guys said, you got this new guy that's coming in, that's coming to fix the mess. The mess has all
Yeah.
been, I think there's a lot of stuff all over the place, and he's coming in to tidy it up. There's certain stuff like he can't just cut the Joker movie now. It's already in production. It is what it is. It will go ahead. But I think what's his name, Walter, will come in and try and tidy this up. I think that's what you're kind of saying. Am I
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Yeah,
because
that's what. Yeah,
essentially this
when he
is
came in, he literally said, "Sorry, Jay, to cut you off."
yeah.
He said, "Oh, I've inherited a hot mess."
Yeah.
Like literally, it's a bit like Theresa May. She became prime minister, just inherited this whole Brexit mess. Like, oh, great, okay, I'm gonna sort this out. But that's
Well, you
what
can
Walter's
argue
done.
she made it worse, but we won't go into
And
the inner
there we go.
politics.
And that's a different agent's
Politics.
debate there. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Walter's come in and just gone, fuck, this is a hot mess. How am I going to do this? This project's going on. That project's going on. This is happening. That's happening. What am I going to do? Okay, do you know what? Let me start one by one. Aquaman. Let's see what I could do with that. And he liked everything. He liked the continuation. He even actually apparently he even spoke to Zack Snyder about doing the Snyder cut. He even spoke to him about it. But that's still up in the sky whether Zack will return to finish off his cut. Walter said, "Yeah, you ready to come back whenever you want to finish the cut off." But Zack hasn't offered it yet. So
Okay. Well, it seems then, if we slowly get on to the end and we're going to wrap this up, it seems that from what you guys have told me, the DC animated universe has a clear vision, but their hands aren't as tied as the DCEU or whatever it's. What did you say it's rebranded to now? DC Worlds or whatever
Worlds
it
of
is.
DC.
Worlds of
Worlds
DC,
of DC.
yeah.
But the DC animated universe seems to have the freedom to do what they want because they're catering for a smaller audience, and their movies are 10 times better because they stay true to the comic. The true comic book fans realize and they give them what they want. Whereas the DCEU or the Worlds of DC have to cater for a little bit of a bigger audience. Plus, they haven't until this point had a clear vision yet. But going forward, are you guys confident that the DCEU or Worlds of DC, whatever you want to call it, can kind of get back to its roots and maybe use some of the animated storylines, the comic storylines, and maybe get back to where it should be? Or are you writing it off? What are we saying?
I'm not writing it off. I think I have a little bit of hope towards the Worlds of DC now. I think the animated universe, they did have a lot of creative freedom, and the DC Universe streaming service, who will incorporate the animated universe along with their TV shows as well, they have a large amount of freedom. I think this new director in charge of the movies is going to allow people to do what they were supposed to do in the first place, which is just doing their job and being free about it and allowing the creativity to just be. and I think that's a very good thing. It will allow them to be competitive because, as it stands right now, overall, the MCU has a much larger catalog of successful films compared to DCEU. That's just facts, as it stands right now.
Yes,
The
Boris
DC
agreed.
film, yeah, the DC films have got a few standalones that were very good, very very good, but overall MCU has been smacking it. So now it's time to play catch up, and with this in mind, I think they will be quite successful. And that can only be a good thing because as fans of comic book characters, we all want to see great films, regardless if it's Marvel or DC. And it's good to actually have a fighting chance for DC to showcase what they're capable of, and for even casuals to see how good the DC characters are. Because as it stands right now, they haven't been able to see it that much, but now they will be able to. So here's hoping that Shazam will be a very good film, and we'll see where it goes from there.
I know, Rob, you've got you're a big Shazam fan. Are you looking
Why is
forward to
man
this
putting me on
movie?
this pedestal like that?
Well, you've made it clear you're a big Shazam fan.
Amount of times man says Shazam on a regular basis, boy. But yeah,
That's
go
it.
on.
He also had I mean, obviously people won't know this, but in group chats, his favourite memes is the Shazam meme. It's been posted a lot. But my
Bare
point is, obviously
exposure.
you're a big Shazam fan. Are you confident this movie is going to be a success? Are you worried for it? Do you feel that this will kick off the new regime? You could argue, is Aquaman the kickoff to it, or is Shazam the kickoff to the new regime? Which one?
I would say it's Shazam. No biasness. It's because you could have a one-time hit wonder, right? And that was
Yeah.
Aquaman. And arguably now that I mean that is a multi-billion franchise right now. So Shazam, if Shazam is as good as Aquaman in terms of success, then yes, that is DC they're back in the game. They've
Would
got
you
two hands
say?
now on that cliff edge, pulling themselves up instead of one hand.
Okay.
You know what I
Would you
mean?
say that Shazam could be the DC version of Guardians of the Galaxy? And when I say that, it came out of nowhere, right? Nobody knew about the Guardians of the Galaxy, only the comic book fans. But I'm talking about the casual market. Didn't know about Guardians of the Galaxy. Wasn't sure this little space film. Oh, I might see it, and then it gathered pace, and people were saying you need to go and see that. Do you think Shazam can be that movie where because if you ask people on the street, do you know who Shazam is? Oh, is that film? I don't even know what it's about. People don't really know who he is. Do you think it can be that moment for DC?
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely, man. I think Shazam's like the sleeping giant that will literally tell the world, "I'm here. I am. You could take me serious as the rest of the DC characters, or as the Holy Trinity, as James said, Batman, Superman, as Wonder Woman, and it will definitely surprise people. Should it be really good, that is, and if it does do well, which I'm really hoping it does, then it's going to be up there, and it will definitely launch DC back into the game because it's based on the 52. So if anyone hasn't read the 52, Shazam arc, you can read it on YouTube. Some people put scans on. You read it up. It's really good. It describes it. It's literally all of that. That will be the movie, and Jeff Johns had a big what's it called? Who still is I think he's still head honcho in DC, right, or something. But now he has his own production called Mad Ghost Productions, which gives scripts, which does writing, for
Which
movies.
is what he's really good at. He's really good
Exactly. He's a writer. He ain't no director. He ain't no producer. He's a writer, and that was one of the biggest fuck ups. Excuse my French. That they had before in the Snyderverse. Right now he's writing. He's doing what he does, which is good. And like I said to people, watch Titans. You see his work. Yeah. Shazam, and he's doing Green Lantern. the Green Lantern Corps
Oi,
movie, which
coming
is
back to
coming out.
Green Lantern, yeah.
Yeah, which is
Jeez.
going to be. They said which is going to be the.
No, 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 no,
you
no,
know
no.
what?
Now,
You know
I
what?
know what you're
I'm
talking. I know why
still,
you're mad. I know why you're saying
yeah.
that, Greg. I know it. But let me just put this to you like
Wait,
this.
what?
Yeah?
Greg hates what? Greg hates Green Lantern.
Do you not what you
Come
try to
on.
tell me you like the
No,
Green
but
Lantern film?
who liked
Do
that
not
movie?
troll me
Come
right
on.
now, Rob. Do
Come
not troll
on,
me
Rob.
right now. I have the
Wait,
higher
Greg. No, no,
ground.
no, no, no,
I
no,
have
no.
the
Hold
higher
on.
ground, Rob.
No, hold on. You hate Green Lantern.
The
No, no,
film.
not the
The
character.
film.
What I'm trying to say is the film.
Oh, the
The
film.
previous
Oh, that
film.
film was shit.
See,
Yeah.
So when you're saying a Green Lantern film, automatically, and if you make fun of it, Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds has said it himself. Deadpool has said it himself. It's in the Deadpool movies. They make fun of that movie. It's horrible. So the moment you
It's
think
terrible.
about Green Lantern, you think that movie, and you think, oh no,
Okay, Greg, look.
automatically.
All
No,
right, I'll,
no,
I'll, I'll explain this. I'll explain this. Yeah. Like I understand your hesitations for it. It's completely justified. But that being said, Jeff Johns was the person who revitalized the Green Lantern comic. When he came to write the Green Lantern comic, it was like a breath of fresh air for Green Lantern. Like he saved that comic. He made so many successful arcs of Green Lantern. It was that he continued to do so in New 52 until one of the later issues where he stopped writing for Green Lantern and he moved to Justice League. And he was, to me, he's made so many great arcs with Green Lantern. If he's writing the Green Lantern film, I have full confidence in it. That's end of discussion for me. Full confidence.
You agree with that, Rob?
Yeah, no, I was about to say this. James has pretty much just said what I was going to say to you, dude. You can rest at ease, man. Jeff is doing what he's meant to be doing, writing. That's why he set up his own company. So Warner Brothers, because he saw the fuckery, oops, excuse my French, that Warner Brothers was doing did to Zach during his tenure as head of DC. So he went, oh hell no. So he went left, set up his own company, Mad Ghost Productions, and now he's doing his own writing. He still works for DC Publishers, the comics, but he's doing it. But for movies, this is Mad Ghost Productions, and he is now an agent for Warner. If you guys want something written, I'll do it for you, but I'm doing it on my terms, and that's it. And we've seen the
Okay.
proof. Titans is amazing. Aquaman was good. He's co-wrote Shazam, and he's writing Green Lantern, man. So it's just up to the director now to put his vision out there. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think DC, if Shazam's great, yeah, DC's gonna have a good run. I don't trust Matt Reeves though with Batman, but we'll see.
Okay, well, I think we've pretty much covered everything. To conclude, we're looking for the future of DC is looking brighter. I'm not going to say it's looking amazing. It's looking brighter from what you
Agreed.
guys have told me.
Yeah.
They've seemed to have got a direction now. They know where they want to go. You guys are, you've got faith in DC. You guys are saying that the movies that are coming out are going to be staying truer to the 52. So we've got every faith in it. We've got every faith in it going forward. In terms of the animated universe, what's going on with that is that, because we covered that at the beginning, but moving forward with the animated universe, are you guys confident that's just going to just continue producing hit after hit?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they've just announced a new Justice League movie called Justice League versus the Fatal Five, and
Okay.
and it's done by, guess who? Bruce Timm, the guy who started the entire DCAU. So that alone is instant success, and it's the square shoulders as we call them, days of the animation. So I mean, the trailer's out. People can watch the trailer, see and see what it's saying, but it's really good. It is really good. I'm really looking forward to that.
Fair enough. Fair
And
enough.
I think there's some other ones coming out as well. There's a Wonder Woman one coming out as well. There is I think it's another Suicide Squad movie coming out, animated movie coming out as well. And I don't know. There's another one later on this year. I don't know what it is, but yeah, there's quite a few coming out this year, man. So
But
yeah,
they'll just be
keep
continuing to churn out hits after hits.
expand.
I
That's
think
it.
so.
I mean,
I
we
haven't-
will do podcasts about those films. Just let people know and stuff.
Yeah, of course. We're very early into our podcast journey, and we hope you have enjoyed this one. We'll do more. We'll do more of these. If you guys want it, we'll do more of these. In-depth discussions regarding comic books. We've got a couple more subjects that we have in the pipeline. But if there's anything else you guys want to say in regards to the DCAU versus the DCEU, now's your time to say it. Anything else? How do you want to conclude this? To conclude this conversation, what are your final thoughts?
James, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think the DCAU is like its own beast altogether. It's come from being established from decades ago, and it's for me personally, the worlds of DC will never be able to be on the same level ever of the animated universe. But that doesn't mean that the worlds of DC will not be good or great. But it's not, for me, it's impossible for it to be on the same level, because the animated can make things look visually much better in terms of fighting. The storyline is just like thoroughly there. They know what they're doing in terms of what they're copying from the source material. They have track records of writers and directors making very solid storylines for one timers. They can do what they want. To that extent, they can either make a standalone film, or they can make it into part of the U52 universe. Either way, it is essentially, the animated universe is for the fans. The worlds of DC is for casuals and fans, but animated universe is solely for fans. And it is very successful. They sell very large amounts of copies of the films. They're not hurting. They are very successful when they make the animated films. They're very affordable to make as well in comparison, so they can just have a very cheap budget and do very well with what they have. So they can just continue churning out great production after great production, and fans will love it. Oh, what bad films have they made lately? You tell me. What was that cough
Clearly
about?
none. Clearly none.
Oh no, that was a legit cough, man.
All right.
Yeah, literally, yeah. That was a legit cough. I should have muted.
All right.
My bad. Yeah.
All right, Rob. Final thoughts on the whole thing?
Oh yeah. Final thoughts on the DCAU and DC and the DC movies is that DCAU will continue to grow strong. People have full confidence. I mean, you got the Wonder Woman Bloodlines coming out later on this year. That was the one, and that's going to be really good. You've got the other Justice League Fatal 5 that's come out next week after. That's going to be good. But I will assure people that Walter so far looks like he knows what he's doing. He has a plan. For the first time, you can actually see a structural plan, which this man has now, a vision. He said solo movies, concentrate on solo movies and B-liners. So you're going to get Supergirl movie, you're going to get a Batgirl movie, you're going to get a Suicide Squad soft reboot movie, or not Suicide 2. You're going to get the Batman movie, which I have no faith in. And you're going to get Wonder Woman 2 coming out next year. So, and which is done by the same lady who did it. So yeah, the future's looking good for the so far. Just solo movies, if they stick to that, build up their base, they should do fine. That's it.
Fair enough.
I will say this though. If anyone wants to check out a really, really good, if anyone is a Superman hater but they want to be converted, just read Superman Unchained. That's what Henry Cavill's Superman was based on. That particular arc. Read that. That's what I will say. But yeah, sorry.
Superman Unchained.
Yeah.
No problem. Well, for me personally, DC will never be Marvel. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
Obviously.
Marvel.
No, not even. I'm not even freaking. If there was a KKK for Marvel, man, that's Greg is
Wow.
the Grand Wizard.
Wow. On that note, hope you've enjoyed this discussion. We've been the Agents of Screen. You can catch all our work on youtube.com/Agents of Screen. Obviously, if you're listening to this in podcast form, we are on iTunes, Spotify, what's the other one? Mixcloud. Anywhere you get your podcast, you just type in Agents of Screen, youtube.com/Agents of Screen.
Android as well.
Android, Google Podcasts, we're on all of that. Movie reviews live at the cinema on our YouTube channel. Our Twitter is @Agents of Screen, where you can catch the latest news. Our Instagram is @Agents of Screen. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Agents of Screen. You can make sure you subscribe, you won't miss a thing. I've been Greg. These guys have DC in their veins, but they've been Rob and James. As you can hear, they're passionate about DC, and hopefully we will bring you more, well, debatable. We'll bring you more content like this very, very soon.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Take care, guys.
Jog on.